What's going on YouTube? This is Roger here from MrKleinReef's, and I thought I'd give you a little bit of a different video today. Today I'm going to go over my top 20 SPS coral, and this was hard to narrow down. I mean, a lot of them are common, some of them are brand named from companies like Aura and Cherry Corals and Dr. Foster Smith, but that doesn't change anything. These are still my favorite coral in the SPS realm. If this video kind of does well, I might dabble in the LPS and do a whole video on that. But without further ado, here's the countdown for my top 20 favorite SPS coral. Opening up the countdown at number 20 is the Bali Green Slimer. And if you guys have ever owned a Bali Green Slimer, you know that they are a very dominant coral. They're very open and branching, especially if you see mature colonies. You'll see fish swimming through the branches, which I think is awesome. Fortunately, I lost most of my green slimer with the upgrade, but it's slowly returning to glory. It's one of those Acropora that are like kind of the gateway into your SPS addiction. So be warned if you ever get one of them, because you will start liking the cooler and cooler stuff from there. Coming in at number 19 is Acropora saharsonoi. There's a whole bunch of different versions of them, like Retina Blaster and all those crazy names, but I like the ones that have a dominant color and then a nice neon bright tip, like the kind of one that I have. What's cool about these corals is they're actually very, very hardy. This one survived everything I've thrown at it, and also its growth pattern is absolutely amazing. It's kind of similar to a Hawkins echinata, but more kind of flat and table-like, and very, very contrasted between its tips and its branches. So that's number 19. Coming in at number 18 is Acropora setosa, and I think this is one of those corals that's very, very, very underrated. There's very few purely red corals out there on the market, and the setosa is by far one of the coolest, because you'll find it in shades of dark pink or a nice deep red. I have the Dr. Foster and Smith setosa, and it's easily becoming one of my favorite corals. And it didn't start off that way. It started off like a little nub that was just a little red blob, but now it's easily becoming one of my favorite corals in my tank, which is why I made the countdown. Number 17 goes to Cherry Coral's Heaven and Hell Millipora. Now there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of different types of Millipora, but I think the Heaven and Hell Milli is easily the coolest, ranging from this really light turquoise green to this bright red and pink. I think it's just easily one of the coolest Milliporas. And what sucks about this one is it's actually really expensive for what it is. So I will be on the lookout for a cheap frag once they come down in price, that's for sure. Number 16 goes to the Red Planet. And once again, there's a bunch of different versions. There's the Dr. Foster's and Smith, there's Aura. But they all fundamentally look the same. The cool thing about the Red Planet is it has these cool white tips that I think are just awesomely contrasted from white to pink to red to deep red, and some of them even fade into a deep green if you have your lighting and spectrum and it's all happy and whatnot. But Red Planet's growth pattern is awesome as well. I don't know if you guys have seen the Aura picture of their colony, where it's like as big as, you know, a serving tray, and it's awesome, and it's just this huge tabling coral, and tabling corals just have a special place in my heart. Number 15 goes to the Garf Bonsai, another one of those corals that I think is very, very, very underrated. I had one in the past, but it didn't survive the upgrade, unfortunately. And it was one of those things that loved to encrust until it got its nice encrusted base, and then it would just branch out beautifully. And the contrast between the purple on the base and then the bright green polyps just made it one of the coolest looking corals when it was lit up by purely actinics. So if you're looking for one that looks really cool under actinics, definitely go with the Garf Bonsai. Coming in at number 14 is the Miyagi Tort. Now here's the thing about the torts is there's a very fine line between the Miyagi Tort and the California Tort. I always thought the Miyagi Tort had a lot more gold to it, so that's what shows in my tank of the one I have. I don't have a good picture of it to show you guys, but the Miyagi Tort has this really cool gold undertone ranging from a purple to a green to a blue. So it's a very, very cool dominant coral, and I also love the torts. Growth structures in general, really thick branches, and they're almost like a mix of a plate and a branching coral in some cases, and the adult colonies are super cool looking. Number 13, unlucky number 13 goes to the Herlock Acro. And this is one of those things that's, I'm not sure if I have one, but it looks just like it. It's like this dark maroon red with bright blue tips, and I think they're one of the coolest SPS ever because they're almost like a mix between something deep water but something branching and a staghorn. So it's like a really nice mix, and then it has the really light blue tips with the green polyps, just adding that just extra snazz. It's one of those corals that looks awesome under actinics, just like the Garf Bonsai. Coming in at number 12 is the Tyree Pink Lemonade Acro. Similar species to the Strawberry Shortcake, I believe, but its gold undertone with the dark red polyps is easily one of the coolest color combinations I've seen on Acropora in general. So it's one of those that are brand named, so its price goes up a little bit, but it's definitely one that I plan on buying in the future. So number 11 goes to that Strawberry Shortcake, but my favorite color variant that I've seen is from Ultimate Corals. It just has that deep, like, cyan green ranging to a nice bright pink purple tips. It just has one of the coolest contrasts between, you know, polyp tip and base color. I've been saying that a lot of contrast, but but it definitely does have one of the best contrasts. Cracking the top 10, number 10 is the Northern Lights Granulosa, and I actually unknowingly had one of these until I lost it during the upgrade. Unfortunately, man, that coral was so cool. It has one of the coolest growth patterns because it's like a jumbo-sized tabling coral is the best way I can put it, because it's not as delicate as some of the other tables, but it'll like table out and then it'll branch upwards and it'll just look so cool. And it's really thicker tips make it look like a bigger, bushier coral than it really is, but it has that look that just makes it a very dominating showcase piece. Number 9 goes to the California Tort. I know there's a lot of speculation between what's the difference between a California and an Oregon Tort, but there is a difference. The California Tort has way more green on it than the Oregon Tort. The Oregon Tort has more purple and blue. But the Oregon Tort is one of those corals that I need it. I really need it. I have a huge soft spot in my heart for torts in general, and so this is definitely deserves its place in the top 10. Number 8 goes to Acropora hoiksami. Now, I don't know if there's any special names out there by brands, but I'm pretty sure there's probably one that I don't know. But the hoiksami acro has the deepest blue that I've ever seen on any Acropora ever. And I can commit to that statement. It definitely has the deepest, richest blue I've ever seen. The only downside to this coral is it's really finicky. Definitely finicky in terms of SPS. Definitely one of the harder, slower growing coral, but it's also one of the most rewarding if you can actually keep it alive. Another bad thing is I only see them on maricultured sites, unfortunately, and some people tend not to buy maricultured corals because they shift color under artificial lighting. But if I ever come across one that's labeled hoiksami, I'm going to give it a shot because its blue is just unbeatable. Lucky number 7 goes to Cherry Coral's Passion Fruit. And this is one of those corals that every time I see it in stock on Cherry Corals, I'm so tempted to buy it, but I can't because I'm in Idaho. Anyway, it has that tabling structure that I really like, but it also has the super contrast between two not very common colors, between a light pink and a gold. And that's not very common in a lot of SPS in the world. Once you get into like the higher, reef raft corals, it's kind of common. But in terms of frag for its price size, usually goes for $70 an inch or so. And in that price range, it's not a common contrast between two colors like that. So that's actually really cool, and I plan on getting one as soon as it's in stock and I'm near my tank. Number 6 goes to the infamous Oregon Tort. There was a guy on Nano Reef, I think his name was Urban X, and he had the coolest Oregon Tort. It was like, probably 3 fingers width. Its main stalk was 3 fingers width, and it was just this dominant showcase piece, and it was amazing. The purple and blue on that thing was just unbeatable, and I need one, but they aren't very common, which is unfortunate. They're really common online, but not so much in stores. Number 5 goes to the Dr. Foster's and Smith Red Dragon. I have a Dr. Foster's and Smith, but I'm pretty sure the second picture that comes up will not be the Dr. Foster's and Smith Dragon, but it looks pretty similar. The red dragon was easily my favorite coral forever until I found, until I committed to my top 5 or 4, really thought about it. It used to be number 1. It actually used to be extremely expensive in price, going for like $150 an inch. It was insane. I got mine for like $19 an inch, which is a pretty great deal, I think. But a lot of people don't like this coral because they think it looks like a SPS skeleton covered in cyano, but I think if you own a red dragon and you see it, it definitely doesn't look like that. It might give that impression in pictures, but online you can see, or in real life, you can see the stripes on the flesh and the white tips, like, and the really, really faint polyp extension at night is just an extremely unprecedented coral. Number 4 goes to the Aura pearlberry, and this is one of those corals that I just need. It's just simple as that. The green and purple just contrast is amazing. Although the green and purple is a very common contrast in coral, it still deserves its high recognition and awesomeness. Yeah, that's all I got. Number 3. Now this one I don't know the actual name of, but if you're on MrKleinReef, you'll know that it has been dubbed the Acropora. And I got it from a friend, MetroCat, on MrKleinReef, and it's easily the crown of my tank right now, purely because it's the biggest and most colorful and awesome in my tank. But Cat's adult colony in her tank. Go look at that tank. Go look at MetroCat's tank on MrKleinReef, and you will know exactly why this coral makes the top 3. Alright, the runner-up goes to the Hawkins echinata. I only have a little piece of this, but it's the awesome, faint, yet powerful contrast between the green to blue on its tips and then the white polyps extension at night is just unbeatable. It really is. I think it's one of the very few coral in my tank that can outshine my Acropora that came in at number 3. And hopefully one day that happens, because the Hawkins echinata is amazing. And I have an Aura one. I have one from Aura. You can see it from the plug. But easily one of my favorite. I will always have one of these in my tank. Alright, number 1. The champion. The winner. Acropora abertanoides. And something about this coral is so unprecedented that it just makes every other SPS I've seen look so dull and boring. Something about its awesome contrast between its light green to its light pink and then its really colorful polyps just make it seem so untouchable by a lot of other SPS out there. And I think it's because of how the coral, it's like a staghorn, but it has these super dominant corallites that just scream contrast, because each little corallite will cast a little shadow on it and it makes it look has so much depth. And unknowingly, I had one of these a few years ago. I had one and I lost it when I upgraded, and I was super mad because at the time I had no idea that coral was going to be my favorite coral of all time in 2 years, So just letting you know, care for everything equally, because you will not know what will be your favorite thing in a year or so. So that's my little fun fact. Number 1, Acropora abertanoides. Alright, thank you guys for bearing with me for this really long video, but I have a couple little requests and information for you guys to get out to. First, I want to make this a little interactive. I want you guys to put down your favorite SPS down in the comment section below. Secondly, if you guys want me to do something like this for LPS, be sure to let me know down below. I probably won't go to my top 20 LPS because this is a really long video and I don't know how many of you will actually stick around till the end. And thirdly, if you did stick around till the end, if you can find me a link to abertanoides on sale, I will give you a free frag or 2 or 3 or 5 of anything in my tank when I get home for Christmas. Okay? So you have now until I go home back to Boise. So you have now until January 5th to find me an abertanoides. And if you do, and you send me the link, I will give you a free frag pack for my tank. Deal? Deal.